Hi there, welcome back. If you've been seeing my videos so far, you know that I've been trying to give you a general overview about the language industry and how it can benefit your business and your brand. For example, so far I did a small video explaining some language services that you might need for your business and which kind of professionals you should look in order to provide you those services. Then I did another video telling you where you can start looking for the best professional, the best language service provider for your business. But now I'm thinking, if you do that, even if you ask for your network and get tons of good recommendations, or you go to a professional association and you get lots of applications, how do you filter those applications, those candidates, and which criteria should you use? Which attributes should you be looking for in those professionals that are trying to work with you, so that you can choose the best professional for your business, for your needs, for what you need to have translated, or for your content that you need to create from scratch. So today I'm giving you 5 tips, 5 things that you should be looking for in language service providers. And the first one is actually related to a very common misconception that usually people get very confused or very surprised when I say that I only translate into my mother tongue. In my case, my mother tongue is European Portuguese, so I only translate into Portuguese. So I don't translate from Portuguese into other languages, even though I speak English, German and French. But I only translate from those languages into my mother tongue. This is just to say that if you want content written or translated into German, for example, you should look for a native speaker. It is very common that translators should only translate into their mother tongues because this is actually the only language that we fully master. Also, it's useful that a person has lived, studied, or lived for a long time in the country in which you are trying to target this audience. So if you are trying to target the German audience, for example, it's useful to use someone that has actually lived there for a long time, studied, worked there, because they will know the consumers. It will be easier to know some colloquial or idiomatic expressions, for example, or to understand some references that you use in your content, and to actually translate them in a way that will resonate with the target audience that you are trying to target with your content. So yeah, tip number 1, always look for a native speaker of the language that you want your content created or translated into. That being said, the fact that a person is a native speaker of a language doesn't automatically transform them into a professional translator. So even if a person masters more than one language, it is very useful that they have formal academic training in languages, in translation, journalism, or some other fields that are related to linguistics or to language studies. This means, for example, if a person has academic training in translation studies, they will have been trained, first of all, to fully master the languages that they work with, but also to use some software, some tools that are very effective in order to translate your content in a more consistent way. So, second thing you should be looking for is academic background or formal training in some kind of field related to languages. The third thing you should look for is, and this is also something that I get a lot from people, that but you studied languages, you know nothing about my business. It's a very technical field. We work with machinery or with a very specific subject, and I'm sure you don't know anything about it because you're a linguist, you studied languages. Well, the thing is that most translators actually specialize in some fields. And how do we specialize? First of all, we may actually work in those fields for some time. There are lots of translators that have different backgrounds, for example in engineering or something like that, and then they decided to study languages and become translators. So they might have some previous professional experience in your field or in some other field that you need. And we can also take courses, or maybe the fields that we specialize in are really something that actually interests us. We have a genuine interest, so we like doing research, reading about it, attending industry events, or maybe we have a very strong network. We know a lot of people that work in those fields that we can go to when we have any doubts or something that we need to clarify. So you will need to ask the person that is trying to work with you, your future translator, if they have relevant experience or if they are specialized in your field. You can ask for references, previous clients they have worked with, or types of materials they have previously translated, and this will give you an idea of the knowledge and the experience they have in your field. Also, in my previous video where I told you where to look for translators, I mentioned professional associations. There are professional associations for translators, but you can also see if your candidate has some kind of certification or accreditation in the field that they specialize in, for example, or if they are members of some kind of professional associations. This is in no way a guarantee that these are reliable and that everything will run smoothly. But it does give you the guarantee that this person has formal training in the field that they are working in, and they have relevant experience, because usually associations will not accept a membership for someone that has not relevant experience in the profession. And they will abide to some kind of code of conduct. So this is more or less assuring that you are in fact dealing with a professional, with someone that actually is a professional language service provider. The last thing I'd like to mention is you can filter your candidates by the way or by the questions they ask you. A good professional will not simply reply if you contact them with a request to create content or to translate content, and if they say, yeah, I can do it, no problem. This is, well, it's kind of strange, because I think that they will at least have some questions to ask you, like what is the purpose of the material you are trying to create or translate, questions about your target audience, questions about your brand style, your brand's tone of voice, or some specific terminology that they need to use. So you can pay some attention to the questions they ask you, and this will also be a good indicator that you are on the right way to find the right professional for your business and for your brand. In the description, I'll leave a link to a blog article that I have actually, where I explain the questions I usually ask my clients, so you can have a look so that you get an idea. And I'll also leave you a link for another blog article that tells you how you can create a perfect project brief, how you can clearly describe your project and set your expectations, and so that you can avoid any misunderstandings with your future language service provider. So have a look, and also subscribe if you haven't done it, and click the little notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post new videos, and I'll see you here again soon. Bye!